Hello, everyone. Welcome to Vahagraphy Talk 49. How's everybody doing? Today's guest, special guest, Mark Comon from Pulse Photo. How are you, everyone? How's
Hey,
everybody
Vahagan,
doing?
it's great to be here. Thank you for having me on with the three of you. I feel like you guys are going to jump me here, so I'm all ready for that.
Yeah, I want to welcome you on. Hello, Chuck. Hello, Ron. How are you guys?
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you, Mark.
It's nice to meet you, Chuck. Thank you. Thank you, Vahagan. Thank you, Ron Pollard, one of our good friends and loyal Pulse Photo customers. So thank you, Ron.
Man. My brother from another mother.
Absolutely.
So, how's it going, Mark? Actually, Ron kind of introduced me to you, but I've been watching your videos. Before that, I've been seeing you unboxing lenses and stuff in your store.
So life is good. You know, in the camera store, we're doing okay. I don't know if you've been following, but I just got back from Yosemite. I was in Yosemite last week with a group. So I had 12 students, and I posted a video every day and a photo of what we did. I think that's really important for us as a retailer, as a camera store, to not just be a hardware slinger. You know, and that's one of the things that my dad taught me, that, you know, people come here because they want to be part of the family. They want to be part of what we're doing. And so I took that to the next level by actually going out and photographing with my customers. And we have a lot of fun. And not only do we have fun, but you learn how to make better pictures together. You know, I don't know if Ron told you, but in July and August, I was 30 days in Kenya leading. I had 3 photo workshops, you know, actually 2 in Kenya, 1 in Uganda. And I had 36 students over 3 workshops in Africa. It was awesome fun. You know, we get to do all kinds of great stuff like that. It's very cool.
That's awesome. We have our viewership is all over the globe. So
that's great.
For those of you who don't know, Mark Comon runs Pulse Photo in Torrance, California, right by the ocean there.
Yes, it is. It is.
So, you know, care to share some of our viewers what you're all about, your store, your educational.
All right.
You know. Go ahead.
So we're a small family camera store in Torrance, California, southwest Los Angeles County. I like to say that we want to be your local camera store no matter where you live. We serve our local area very well. You know, we have a good following locally, but one of the things that the pandemic has brought us is nationwide, worldwide attention. And it's been really cool because I met Ron, right? Who's in, you know, down in the South. And how could we have hooked up if that didn't happen? And so, you know, a lot of the Nikon ambassadors come here. A lot of the Canon explorers of light have been through here. We have photographers of all shapes and sizes come and speak here and lecture here to inspire the crew. You know, we're just a small camera store. My dad started in 1961. I've been working every day in the camera store since 1974. You know, 60 some odd years in the photo business. You know, we do Canon, Nikon, Sony, Fuji. You know, we have the lighting, the backdrops, you know, bags, lenses, all that kind of stuff. But when we really found our stride was in 1988 when we opened the Creative Photo Academy. And that was just, not that it's better or more important than the camera store, but it's a perfect fit for the camera store. And I started with the classes because people would buy a camera and not have success with it. And how many hobbies have you guys spent money on where you buy it, you go home, you can't really figure it out, you try it twice, you don't have success, so it ends up in the garage or under the bed, right? And that killed me. The people would come in and in those days spend $500, which is a lot of money, you know, in 1988, you know, or $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever, and not be happy. I want people to be happy. I want you to rock it. I want you to make pictures as good. Whoops, sorry, that what? Ron's over here. Ron's over there, right? So I want you to make his pictures as good as Ron does. And we do whatever we have to do to make that work for you. So in 1988, we started with the classes. In 1991, we started with the photo workshops and the trips. We did our first international trip in 1995. In 2005, we did our first safari to Africa, and we've just been going ever since. You know, I've shot with Canon, I've shot with Leica, I've been a Nikon user since the F5 days when my kids started playing sports, and I had to give up manual focus for autofocus, and been a Nikon guy ever since. You know, that's where Ron and I met on one of the Nikon talks that we gave. You know, having either one of the Nikon tech people or one of the I don't even remember what talk it was, Ron. Do you?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I do. I remember clearly.
Which one was it?
It was on the Z72, Z762, Z72.
Okay.
It was one of those that went back a few years ago.
That's cool. You're so enthusiastic. Like when I watch you in your videos, you are just excited, and you're like, it's so into photography, and I love seeing that. Not only do you run and operate the retail shop, but you're just so into it, and you love what you do, and it shows from what you do. You know, that's so great.
Thank you.
Paul's energy won me over, because I know a lot of guys, and Paul can attest to this too, and we all can. I know a lot of knowledgeable guys, but people who care about and are passionate about you, that was rare. And Mark was knowledgeable and passionate about me succeeding, not just buying a camera from his store. And that's what won me over to Mark, because it was more than just, buy this camera and then I'm done. No, man, he walked with me through a number of processes. So, that's why I say my brother from another mother, man.
Absolutely. How many talks have we had about your issues, whatever, trying to make it work? Because I want to make it work, Ron. And it's not just me, guys. We have a whole team. There's 6 salesmen on the floor right now taking care of the online orders that came over the evening, the people that are calling. What new Nikon lens was there an announcement? I didn't see an announcement last night. Was there?
No, I think he's talking about the Estahori.
The what?
The Estahori lens, 28 millimeter.
Oh,
that's not by Nikon though.
No, third party.
Can I make a comment here?
Yes, sir.
The Nikon Z lenses are, in my opinion, the best lenses that have ever been produced. And every time I test a Nikon Z lens against another lens, including the Nikon ED F-mount lenses, the Z lens is best in class by far, not even close. So why would you spend, even if you spend $1,000 today on a Z5, put an inferior lens on it, unless you just want the look? So
that's strong, man. Coming from you that sees all the lenses from all the manufacturers and plays with them all, that says a lot right there. Because
thank you.
Yeah, because
I test them. I shoot with them, right, Vahagan? Right? I'm out. So guys, I want to tell you that tonight at 6 o'clock here on the West Coast, you've got to register for this. Send me an email to mark@pulsephoto.com, and I can't figure out how to type into the chat. How do I type into the chat, guys?
You gotta go.
You gotta open up YouTube. Yeah, this is one thing that StreamYard needs to.
I'm laughing because Chuck and Vahagan had to coach me because I didn't know what I was doing.
Here, you know what you do? Like, what you do, Mark? You see the little comment? Just send it to me. I'll copy and paste it on there.
Oh, so I'll put in the private chat.
Yeah,
I private chatted. Did you see that?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, good. So guys, tonight at 6 o'clock West Coast time, you've got to register. Send me an email to mark@pulsephoto.com. I'm going to do a preview of our Africa trip coming up in August of 2023. And Thursday night, I'm going to give a special presentation on my lessons learned from our trip this July with the Nikon Z cameras because I shot Z7, Z6, Z7 II, and Z9 in Africa, and I had the best pictures I've ever had in my life. I had customers with Z5s and Z6s and Z6 IIs that just got amazing pictures as well. And we're going to share those lessons on Tech Tips. That's Thursday night, the 3rd. So here we go.
Now,
So-
Paul, for the sake of transparency, may I ask him a question, Vahagraphy?
Of course. Yeah. Feel free to cut me off anytime,
had-
guys.
I'm sorry.
No,
you had
no.
people shooting all brands on that safari, right?
Well, no, I have Canon people, I have Sony people, and I'll tell you guys, the mirrorless cameras rock. The mirrorless cameras. So I had two Sony. I had a Sony A1 and a Sony A7 IV on my Safari. I had two Canon R5s, a Canon R3 on the Safari, and they rocked. The Nikon people rocked. The people who struggled were the Canon Rebel people, the Nikon D5600 people. The lower, slower cameras really had an issue. And
Hey guys, if you have a question with ask Mark, go ahead and leave it in the comments and I'll flash it on the screen. But I wanted to ask you something, since that's such a strong statement that you mentioned about Z lenses, because I feel the same way. My experience, I've used other brands, but we're a Nikon centric channel here. But we do experiment with other cameras. We welcome everybody on our channels. But that's such a strong statement because you've used them all: Canon, Sony, Fuji. That's great.
Yep. You do it all the time. So, Vahagan, I'm a professional, right? I'm not a fanboy. So I like what I like. I'm very opinionated, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
It's going look. Let me tell you right now, guys.
Pollard. Come on.
Let me tell you what's about to happen, guys. See, and I knew this. I didn't say a word to him. Mark, I didn't say a word. I just kept my mouth shut. Folk in the chat, Vahagan Chuck, you want to talk to him the way we talk offline sometimes. He's gonna give it back to you 10,000%. You're gonna get that energy and return energy from this guy who's out there with everybody. He has nothing to hide. He is full. Mark is wide open, man. Mark
I
is
can
wide
see
open.
that. And I've seen that in his videos too. Yeah, absolutely. I love the passion. I love the energy, just like you
But
were
I
saying.
know that. I know
Thanks,
that about
guys.
Mark. See, I know that personally about Mark. That's why I told you, Vahagan. I went to Paul's photo for my gear because it was no fluff, no buff. And we all know in LA, Sammy's is the big dog in terms of the big thing. But Mark cares about my growth, and that's what I care. That's what.
Well, and I care about everybody. I care about all of my crew. And you know, the Fuji stuff, the new Fuji stuff is awesome. The new Sony stuff is awesome. The new Canon stuff is better than it's ever been. Everything today is the best it's ever been. You know, and you have to pick your choice as to what you like. I like the Nikon stuff. You know, I think the Nikon lenses, the Z lenses are first class, and that's why I'm a Nikon guy and have been since the late 1990s.
That's why Amar. That's why Amar from 247 Media Group has to get a Nikon. You know, I think he answered your question, Amar.
No, so the Sony G Master lenses are awesome, and the Canon RFL lenses are awesome. And if you're a Canon guy, if you get the top line Canon RFL lenses, you're going to be happy. If you're a Sony person and you get the G Master lenses, you're going to be happy. So don't think that I'm dissing somebody else. I'm not. But this is what I've chosen, and I chose it for a reason. And I'll stop there.
What's your favorite Canon RF lens that you've tried?
It's kind of a mix for me. I love the 100 2.8 macro, the new macro with the 1.3x magnification factor. The Canon 70 to 200 2.8 is amazing because it's super lightweight. Now, I'm a little disappointed that it won't take a tele extender, because I've always used a 70-200 with a 1.4 extender, and they opted to make the optical formula so the lens is more compact. And I think for the average customer, that's probably a better choice. Picture quality on it's amazing. In Sony, so the Sony, boy, they've got some great lenses. The 85 1.4 is amazing. I've got a lot of customers that really love that. The 35 1.4 is amazing. Their new 24-70 and 70-200 version 2s, where they've cut the weight by a fraction. I mean, that's a cool thing. And that's what I think we're going to see happening as time goes on. And if you're on the sidelines, if you're limping along with your, Minolta Maxim 7000 waiting for an opportunity to upgrade, or if you're waiting, if you have a Canon 5D Mark II, it's time to get in the game, guys, because you're on the sidelines.
It's time to visit Paul's photo.
Absolutely. Especially since Canon and Nikon are on sale this week. So you've got up to $400 off the Nikon Z cameras through Saturday, and you've got up to $300 off the Nikon Z lenses through Saturday. Canon starts tomorrow with up to $200 off the R cameras and up to $400 off the R lenses tomorrow. So, cool. Yeah, don't wait.
And tomorrow may be the announcement for the R6 too, isn't it? And the 135 1.8, that seems to be imminent.
Chuck, they don't talk to me at all. I read all the rumor sites like you do, but I don't care what the rumor guys, a lot of them I talk to on the side, and they have a job to do. My job is to sell, the Canon, Nikon, Sony stuff that we have today. I can't worry about the rumor about what's coming in a month.
On that, do you get questioned a lot about, with people thinking that you have inside knowledge? Do you get questioned a lot about what's coming next for all the brands?
Yep. And I have a standard answer, Chuck.
Yeah.
And the answer is, those that know aren't talking, and those that are talking don't know.
That's a great answer.
I have a question on this topic though. I know that if you knew something, you wouldn't say it because of NDAs. But however, the stores get the info a little before, right? So they could put up their website. No. Nope.
It's one of the battles that we have. Some stores, some of the bigger guys, get the information, because when, if Nikon announces at midnight, at 12:01, I'll get an email from store A or store B with that information. So they had to have gotten previous information. I don't get anything until I get that email. Usually I get it from store A or store B before I get the official one from Nikon. So, or from Canon or from Sony. They're just so worried today, guys, about somebody screwing up, and we've seen it.
Yeah,
we've seen, usually in foreign sites that, Nikon Thailand, put up the whatever, on Tuesday afternoon when it's not going to be released until Tuesday morning or whatever. They're so worried about that. And I understand.
They broke the embargo. Sometimes,
exactly.
Sometimes I guess it's accidental with all the international time zones and everything.
Right. Yes. And so what happens, Chuck, is somebody's building the website and presses the launch button instead of the test button by mistake.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
William says he loves his 400-4.5. He loves the 500 PF2. On that, what Z lens really hits home for you when doing
me?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so let me tell you, I carry with me always. I have my bag right over here because I'm actually shooting. So right now I'm on Z7 II with a 24-70 2.8. That's what I'm using for my webcam today, guys. I have, I don't know,
You're using
Asking me
the
which my
400
favorite
for
Z
your
lens,
webcam.
Vahagan, is like asking me which is my favorite child.
No, the
Right.
24 to 70 he's using. 24 to 70 he's using.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so I'm using the 24 to 70 2.8 as on my Z7 II as my webcam today. I mean, I love that lens. I love the 14 to 30. I love the 70 to 200 2.8. And my newest lens that I love the most is what for Africa was the 400 2.8 TC. That lens is just, it screams. It absolutely screams.
Wow, you got that lens, huh? That's a rare lens to get. They're not even making them anymore, right? For now.
No, oh no. So they're making as many as they can make.
You can't order it.
You can't order them because they've sold out 2 years they sold out 2 years of production in a week. So they're not taking any more orders because people have to wait more than a year, maybe 2 years to get one. So the 400 2.8 and the 800 6.3 are both in that situation. I'm going to assume that when we get the new 600, it will be a similar situation.
What
that it'll get launched and people will get on the waiting list, and then boom, it'll be sold out.
Mark, what has been, Vahagan, if you don't mind, Mark, what has been your feedback on that 400 4.5?
Everybody who has it loves it. It's not a lens for me because I still shoot a fair amount of sports, and for you, Vahagan, doing your music stuff, you need the 2.8 aperture. And for me on Safari, I like the 2.8 aperture for the background. But as a lens that's smaller than a 70 to 200 and lighter than a 70 to 200 being a 400, it's amazing. And for $3,500, whatever the price of the lens is, you can't beat it. We sell every one we can get. The waiting list is not so huge right now on that. So you can generally get one in, a month or so.
Yeah.
And and I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, Vahagan. I just was going to comment on what Amar just said.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do right there. Go ahead, Ron.
I speak, and when I read Amar's comment, 247 Media Group LLC, I just saw a guy that Mark, Robert Hanashero.
Sure, Bert's a great guy.
He just finished with the 400 4.5 in the Z9.
Yep.
My goodness. Along with the Sony A1. Those photos look stupendous, man.
Yeah, so Bert loves the 400 4.5 because he can carry it around and get everywhere he wants to go with it. I mean, his images, and his images are always awesome. Yeah. And, when you couple that with the focus of the Z9, it just makes just amazing pictures. So
because I'm only speaking to that because of his technique is ridiculous.
It's still, gang. I saw someone post earlier. We're talking about all these specs, but what about taking good pictures? It's still the photographer. They say 99% of plane crashes are pilot error. 99% of great photos are made by great photographers. Having great equipment makes it easier, makes the difficult shot possible. Having a great camera doesn't make you a great photographer. So you've got to learn your gear, and that's why.
Say it for those in the back. Say it for those in the back of the building, Mark.
You got to learn to use your gear, gang. I talk about this with Tom Hogan all the time. That better settings, new firmware doesn't make you a better photographer. You got to learn your settings. You got to set up your camera. You can't, I had somebody the other day tell me, well, Mark, I spent $6,000 for a Z9. It should just, well, no, it can't. You spent $40,000 for a car. You still got to learn to drive it. Come on, guys.
Hey, I know Mosman personally, and he lives in deep Orange County. He drives all the way to your shop because he loves his service,
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Mosman, stop by and shake my hand next time. I'm sure we probably have met, but I just don't know who you are online here. So that's cool.
Yeah, me and Mosman made a video talking to random strangers. He's asking random strangers questions. That's Mosman.
So Vahaga, when are you gonna come up from Balboa up the coast, baby?
No, I will. Actually, I'm in the Pasadena area.
Oh, I thought you were Orange County. I'm sorry.
No, that's. I mean, I'm always there. So
Okay.
yeah, I love
He
that area.
loves some Orange County. Boy, he loves Orange County, man.
You're like my
Oh
middle
God.
son. He loves the OC, baby.
Yeah, Newport.
Oh,
You know, that's where I
and every
hang out.
time I'm there, I'm in Dana Point. So you know I love the OC, man.
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
deep in the OC. Yeah.
Good. So did you see I was in Pasadena a week ago. Did you see my video?
No, which one?
I didn't.
I was with Andrew Bernstein at his
Oh,
studio in Pasadena.
Okay.
Okay. Well, first of all, I didn't know he was in
Okay.
Pasadena.
Yeah.
I saw that video. You know, how is he, man? Because
He's awesome.
I had him scheduled here, but he had some last minute things that came up.
Oh, he's crazy busy.
Yeah.
But we were talking about his podcast, Legends of Sport. It's amazing. For those of you guys who love photography and love sports, I mean, Andy, so he's a fixture, 40 years NBA, Lakers, Kings, anything that happened at the Forum or Staples Center or here at the Crypto. Now, he's the guy. And, he's got this podcast rolling where he's interviewing, the top sports guys. I mean, the players, the photographers, the coaches, everybody. And it's so interesting if you love sports and, always mixing in the photography, because he always finds some awesome vintage pictures of whoever from back in the day, right? So I'm waiting for you to see your interview on there, Ron, wearing the shorts.
Hey, he's a legend. He's a legend.
He is a legend.
The super short shorts. Super short.
He's right in my backyard, which is the crazy thing. Put in a good word for me, Mark.
I will. Next time I talk to him, yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question about retail.
Sure.
So when people come to you for advice, the newbies, they come, they want to buy a camera, they have no knowledge of new cameras. How do you stay balanced with their questions? Like, where do you guide them?
Oh, it's easy. I do it, and my crew is trained to ask them questions. So everyone comes in, and their first thing is, my uncle Ron or my uncle Vahagan told me that I need to get a da-da-da-da. Can you show me that? And we do. But then the next set is, why don't we take a step back and tell me what you're trying to do? What kind of pictures are you trying to make? Well, it's my kids playing sports, or we're going on this trip, or, I've always wanted to capture the Milky Way, or whatever. I mean, and there's a laundry list of things, right? And then we talk about their picture expectations, right? So do you want to make big prints? Do you want, what quality results do you want? And some people say, hey, I'm just a snap shooter. I'm just a beginner. I want to just get going. And then, and that's the other thing. I don't want people to be gun shy about coming here because, we sell a lot of Z9s. We sell a lot of Sony A1s. But we sell a whole heck of a lot more Sony A7 IIs and Nikon Z5s and, Nikon Z30s and Canon Rebels than we do anything else. Because that's the bread and butter at the camera store. So, and then once we, the thing that's different here is most people are used to going to a camera store or to the big box store, and they feel like they're being sold. I don't want that experience for my people. I want you to come here, and it's a partnership. It's a collaboration. We're like, we want to be a consultant with you. We want to be a partner in your photography to help you get the pictures that you want. And we'll do whatever we have to do. I mean, so whether it's selling you a camera, renting you a camera, getting you in a beginning photo class to learn about it, that's the whole thing, and that's the joy of retail, man. It's that we have everybody walk in here. We have, We have dads with their 13-year-old daughters who are just starting out photography. They're working for the 8th grade yearbook or the high school yearbook. We have, young people who are traveling the world that, just got laid off from work, and I don't care. I'm going to go out and, we're going to see the West, right? I need a camera for that. To young couples with their first child, to kids playing sports and high school graduations, and retired people who just bought a motorhome are going to take off for 6 months and want to record everything. So, yeah.
Rakesh asks, what is Paul's recommendation for video for new filmmakers between Sony, Canon, Nikon, and Fuji?
It depends on what you're trying to do. Canon and Sony have been the leaders in the video realm for so long. I would hate to send you someplace else than that. Nikon's making a push into video, as is Fuji. But I always tell people, don't swim upstream. I would go and I would do Canon or Sony. And if you're really video centric, I would look at the video cameras, Canon, the R5C, the C70, the C200, Sony, the FX30, the FX3, the FX6, the FX9, those are the cameras that I would look at if I was you. And I'm not the guy on cinema stuff, guys. So Saul and Peter are the ones to talk to here about the video cine stuff. They're my guys for that. So
hey, Mark, how prominent has video become as far as sales for your store?
It used to be, in the old days, no one cared.
Right.
Now everyone cares. So even the hardcore still photographers who are buying a camera want to make sure it can do a quick video. Now, we have a whole department with the cinema stuff, with the Canon and Sony cinema gear, that, those people never even take a still picture. They don't care.
Right.
It's all about video. So I would say, Chuck, 20 to 30% of our customers never take a still picture.
Yeah.
It's all about video. And whether that's, doing videography, like for the wedding and bar mitzvah crowd, or to doing, we have a couple of really strong YouTube, Netflix people that shop here, even some Hollywood folks. And, the Hollywood people, it doesn't have to be Ron Howard, but I have some pretty strong Hollywood people that do, let's say, behind the scenes, not like behind the scenes video, but support role video stuff that is needed without being, the name, the big name guy.
Do you have a lot of indie filmmakers that you see that are looking at these hybrid cameras? Yeah.
Yep.
That's becoming, is that becoming more and more prevalent? A lot of, I'm just asking because, there's been a lot of discussion, at least in my stream, talking about, everybody's still shooter, and still you have so many people that say, I don't care if it has video, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, in my opinion, and you can tell me what you think, I don't think you can sell cameras today that aren't hybrid.
Oh, so they won't. There is a certain percentage, Chuck, and they're in the people with our hair color and style.
Yeah,
you and me.
Yep, I agree.
Right?
I know.
Who don't care about video. But everybody who's like Ron or Vahagen's age or younger, they all want video. And I shoot a lot of video. You know, and when when I'm in Africa, I've shot 500 still photos of the lion doing his thing. And I'll do 3 or 4, 45 to 60 second videos to support that as well. Yeah. So, and if you're not doing that, gang, it's a mistake. You need to have the right stabilization. You need to have a microphone.
I think Nikon, should come out with their Cine line to compete with video. But however, the Z9 is great for video, and I think it's under marketed from Nikon. You know.
I agree, and you're going to see. I think you're going to see a different push from Nikon with the Z30. That the Z30 is going to be the start there and push up to cinema. You know, we're seeing a lot of the marketing assets with the Z30 directed towards the video blogger, YouTuber centric
Content creator.
Yeah, the content creator. But I know a lot of my serious wildlife, nature, bird, sports people who are using the Z9 are loving it because of the video features.
Right.
Because of what it does video wise. That's where they're making their money. That's what's paying the freight on, you know, a $6,000 camera and a $12,000 lens. That's how they're making the money back with the videos.
You've already answered some of this, but are you seeing a prominent age group or you know, that are more interested in the video aspects than the stills aspects?
Yeah, so you're under 40.
Okay.
But it's not the age, Chuck. It's the focus. So when I started in the camera store, if you were an up and coming photographer, you wanted to be a newspaper photographer or a Sports Illustrated photographer or a Playboy photographer.
Or Nat Geo or something.
Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. So now you want to be a YouTuber, you want to be a content creator, and that's all cine. So yeah.
And you know what's interesting, Mark, is you said something about Sony and Canon when it comes to the video piece. And the reason I can resonate with that was because when I began going to Kenya in 1998, it was a Canon XL1 and it was the Sony cinema video cameras that we were taking.
Yeah.
And we were taking 2 and 3 of those each time between Kenya, South Africa, and Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
We were traveling, and the Sony XL1 was that old school big one.
Oh my God.
And
break
man,
your
those things,
shoulder, right, Ron?
yeah, but those things cost so much money. And so Nikon was nowhere near cinema or video at that time. It was Sony and Minolta, Nikon and Minolta were nowhere near video. And to see the evolution now, for you to have an 8K camera in this Z9 and the Z7 II, what it's doing is absolutely amazing in 2022 to see that. The second thing I wanted to say is this. My son is looking at, and you and I have talked about this before, Mark. My son is looking at an opportunity in Colombia. So I told him he will not be taking my Z6 II, but we're going to help him get a Z30 kit and a few other pieces to go with that, with the lapel mics and everything else. Because I just saw a guy by the name of Photo Me Ike do a video on that Z30, and it was incredible.
It's amazing.
The quality of that video, man. On the Z30, I was like, you got to be kidding me. And it was great for stills.
Oh yeah.
So that's
so I have a question for you though. Because I've always thought the Z50 and Z30 were almost the same camera. Is that accurate?
I wish I had a better answer for you than that. I mean, I haven't shot enough with the Z30 yet. I've owned one for about a month. And I like the camera. You know, when I climbed Kilimanjaro in 2020, I took the Z50 with me because it was the smallest high quality camera I could find. So I love the Z50. I love the images from it. I'm liking the still images from the Z30. I just haven't done enough video yet. So I saw a question there, Vahagan, from Koteach. How serious do you have to be to justify a video-centric camera? It's all about controls. Do you like the still type controls? Then a still camera with video option is going to be fine. If you want the cinema style controls, you know, control it, and the way cinema cameras and still cameras have different sets of menus. And so if you want those menus and those controls, you have to do that in one of the cinema style cameras. The only camera that isn't true about that is the Canon R5C that has two sets of menus, one for the cine menu and one for the still menu. So it behaves like a still camera and a cine camera.
I have a question for you, and this is a hot button topic online right now.
Okay.
So I'm guessing you shoot sports and wildlife, but I'm guessing you
Sure.
shot on all three flagships.
Yep.
The R3, the A1, and the Z9.
Mhm.
Now, can you just explain to us, since you've shot all three, is the Z9 behind when it comes to tracking? Well, like we hear the Fronos Photos of the world and the Tony Northrops of the world. Give us your assessment right now with firmware 3.0.
I haven't shot firmware 3.0. When I was in Africa with firmware 2.11.
2.1. Mm-hmm.
I've led 14 safaris to Africa. With those 14 safaris to Africa, I have never had a photo of a flying flock of flamingos in focus. In 14 safaris to Africa, the lilac-breasted roller is one of my favorite birds. I have 4 pictures in focus of the lilac-breasted roller from 14 safaris to Africa. On safari with the Z9, with the animal face tracking focus, I probably have 75 or 100 pictures in focus of the lilac-breasted roller, and I probably have about 120 pictures of flamingos, a flock of flamingos flying in focus. So I don't care whether the Z9 is in front or behind. I can tell you that I got absolutely amazing photos on safari. And if you want to see those photos, come on Thursday night, November 3rd, sign up, send me an email, mark@pulsephoto.com. And to see my Z9 in Africa, I'm going to talk about the successes and the failures and lessons learned of the Z in Africa and the settings I used, all that kind of stuff. And my Sony people, my Canon R3 people had similar experiences. So I'm not going to nitpick Vahagan. If you're a Nikon guy, you're going to buy a Z9. If you're a Canon person, you're going to buy an R3. If you're a Sony person, you're going to buy an A1. And that's what you should be buying if you want the ultimate performance.
Yeah. Good answer.
And didn't but now Mark, I'm just going to ride that question just a little bit to say to that comment from that question from Vahagan to go here. I have seen, when I saw your video with Tom Hogan in that interview, I thought it was brilliant, number one. Number two, I thought your photos that I saw from Kenya were outstanding. So,
wait till you see the new ones, Ron. Oh my God.
This is not me. This is not me kissing up. You're talking to a man in Ron Pollard who's been to Kenya 26 times. You've been to a man in Ron Pollard who's been to Kenya over 26 times and traveled throughout East Africa. So I know how hard it is to shoot from those trucks, those safari vans. Even when you get a balloon, you get to fly in the balloons. If you have not done it, you don't understand how tough it is. The bean bags, the space you need, the monopod you need, all of that stuff you need, right? You got to have a great driver too. You got to have a great driver.
Absolutely. And you have to you have to know what you're trying to accomplish too, Ron. What are your goals?
And you've been out there at 5 in the morning. Yeah. Media
is in the chat saying, yes, learn your tools, learn what you're going to do. Yeah, exactly.
So here's where I'm going, Mark. Yeah, and you know this. You've been on safaris at 4 a.m. like I have, or 7 in the evening, all right? Haven't you seen, or have you seen, let me not ask a leading question, let me ask an open-ended question. Have you seen the A1, the R3, the Z9, all of them struggle similarly, and all of them succeed similarly? Have you seen
They all have
that?
strengths and weaknesses, Ron. And so the camera that I have the least amount of experience with right now between the three is the R3. But I can tell you that all of my customers who have all three of those cameras love them to death.
Yeah.
And it's, so Vahagan, you asked me about, what lens would you not give up, right? I mean, if you've shot with an A1, you're not going to give that up, right? Because you love it. If you've shot with an R3, you love it. And the thing is, gang, as long as you've got the pro lenses, I mean, you want the top lenses, right? So I saw another question. I mean, what about sensor size, 50 to 100 megapixels? Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Canon, Nikon, Sony are not going out of business, guys. They are going to keep going forward. It's right now we're still, you guys don't realize it, but in Asia, they're still in pandemic mode. Things are not working right. They can't get supplies. Things are late. Things are not coming as they need. They can't ship the way they want to. So all the pandemic has done for us has slowed down the transfer rate. That stuff is later than it should be, and no one's even talking about that anymore because it's a given, right? So will there be improvements to the Z9? You bet. Nikon's not going out of business. That's not the last flagship camera they're ever going to make. Will there be 50 or 100 megapixel cameras? Absolutely. Will they be fast? Yeah. But I'll tell you, the first 100 megapixel camera is going to be slower than snot in January, and it's going to be good for portraits and still life only, right?
Treat that somebody slower than snot.
And just, gotta just hang in there. The question that you need to ask, Rod, is how many megapixels do you need, right? And do you have the lenses to support that? And do you have the technique to support it? We ran into this problem. It was a huge problem, Vahagan. Did you do it? Were you a Nikon guy during D800 time?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So people upgraded from D700 to D800 and say, this camera's crap. What's wrong with D800, man? I thought I was getting, well, then you would examine their technique, and Nikon had to put out a white paper on how to get good pictures with a D800. And the emphasis of the white paper was only use the top pro lenses, use a tripod, minimum shutter speed for hand holding is a 500th of a second, use mirror lockup, use pre-focus, all those things, because we had gotten so sloppy with D700 at 12 megapixels, hand holding at a 60th of a second. When you go to 36 megapixels, you see all that. And using your old film lenses didn't cut it anymore. So one of the things I'm so excited about is with the Canon R lenses and the Nikon Z lenses, I'm feeling like those lenses are future-proofed for quite a while.
Yep.
When I look at the results, when I make enlargements, in the lab here at Paul's Photo, on site, we can make 40 by 60 enlargements. And I routinely make 40 by 60 enlargements, and the Z7, the Z7 II, the Z9 images are nowhere near the end at a 40 by 60 enlargement. The Sony A1 images, if done properly, are nowhere near done with a 40 by 60 enlargement. The Canon R5 images, if they're done properly, still have a long ways to go. So I'll tell you, what was it, Rod? Yeah. If you want to make bigger prints, you're gonna need a bigger sensor, right? And I've tested also medium format, right?
So,
Hold on, he was about to say something.
oh, go ahead, Mark.
I'm not to a point with my photography where I'm finding that a Fuji 100 megapixel medium format camera with the Fuji lenses is that much outperforming a Z7 II with the Nikon Z lenses, where I would be compelled to buy one. to make a 40 by 60 enlargement.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's deep. That's deep. That's deep right there, Mark. You said a lot right there.
I do you find that there's a narrative online though, like with the Z9? I just find that they're just nitpicking, and they're not really highlighting the aspects of that camera that are unique.
All right, so Vahagan, so you have to remember, everybody is selling something, right?
Yes.
So Chuck, are you selling something?
Not anything.
That's bull honky. You're trying to
you
get
are.
viewers to your
You're selling your channel.
to your podcast, right?
Yeah, but how many? Hey, that's a good point. How many hobbyists are out there? Why do we only think that professionals?
No,
you know-
wait. Let me finish.
Okay,
finish.
go ahead.
Right. So if you are a blogger, vlogger, YouTuber, what are you trying to sell?
A community to just come in and talk about photography.
If you're doing it altruistically, Chuck, I will take off my hat to you. But the average vlogger, YouTuber, whatever, is looking for viewership so that they can get more clicks and get more revenue from the advertising by having, because if you go from 10,000 viewers to 20,000 viewers, you just doubled your income.
Congratulations, right? Mark. I am not the average YouTuber or anything like that. I do this purely for the fun of doing it. And I've got tons of camera gear. I buy it because I want it, not because I need it. I don't need anything I have. So how unique am I?
So that's why we're going to be great friends, Chuck, right? Because this is, so I own a camera store.
Yep.
I'm out there in front. What do I want you to do, right?
Yep.
Buy more cameras, right?
Yeah.
Buy more lenses.
That's what you want him to do.
Two,
that's what you
buy
want
them
us
from
to
me,
do,
right?
Mark, but let me ask you this: how in favor? I know you want to teach people that really want to learn and whatever, and I get that, and I think that's fantastic. Everybody should aspire to do that. But what about those that are buying because they've moved to a point in life where they can afford what they want, and they're just buying it because they want it?
God love you.
Can we give them a voice?
Sure.
There you go. You just nailed what my stream is all about. It's about photographers coming in, and we talk about everything.
But the whole thing, Chuck, is, I have found the secret for us to sell more cameras is to get guys like this knucklehead right here for me, right?
Yep.
Excited about photography, right?
Yep.
And I love nothing. I mean, I spent all weekend, this weekend, right? In Yosemite with 12 photographers. 3 of the people on the trip had been on multiple photo workshops with some of the biggest names. And they said to me, Mark, I have never been on a workshop where the dude just talks to us. That we sit down, you were at every dinner, we're welcome in your room for drinks afterwards. We talk about pictures, we talk about what it takes to make this picture, because I love to photograph. I'm as big of a fan, I'm as big of a photographer, I'm as big of a nerd as you guys all are. And I love it. So
what you just mentioned is my channel.
Yeah.
Come
Great.
in, sit down, have a good time. Who else do you have to talk photography with in the middle of the week or on a Saturday night? And that's what it's all about, Mark. It's just
so now you have to answer the big question for me, Chuck. What's in your cup? Because whenever we get together, we always talk about what's in your cup.
Coffee.
You caught him on a day without his. You caught him on a day without his M&Ms.
I'm
caught him on his day without his
it's 11
M&Ms,
o'clock
buddy.
in the morning here on a Tuesday. I've got
That's his M&M's, man. Chuck,
Yeah,
that's a religious ritual with Chuck, man.
Yes, hey, Mark, and that's what I started this channel about, is just about photography. And I've told this on my stream a lot of times, and I don't want to take too much time from Vahagraphy here, but I can sit down with my wife, and I'm passionate, and I think anybody that's come to my channel knows I'm very passionate about photography, about cameras, about everything. And I could sit down and talk to my wife, and 2 minutes into the talk, she's like, "Okay, I've had enough. Go away."
Yeah, mine too. My God.
I have nobody else to talk photography to. So I thought a channel where you can come, and if you come to our stream, you'll see I select a topic, but I'll tell you, that's just to put something on the thumbnail, honestly.
Right, exactly.
Because
where it goes, you do not know.
Exactly. And I love that. And we have sidebars going in the stream, which I think is fantastic. And we have some wonderful people in the community that are experts, to include, Ron and Vahagan and many others that are, their experience in photography is tremendous. And everybody gets to share that with each other.
And what I love about it, there in my 40 some odd years in the photo business, there have been a few people, we won't talk about them, that don't share.
Right.
That don't want to help us succeed.
Come on, come on.
I'm all about, nothing gives me greater pleasure than to see my students win a prize at a contest, even in a contest that I entered.
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because you had something to do with that, and that's a great achievement. You that's awesome, man. And you care. That's what it is. You care, and it shows.
Yeah.
Right.
Dignap 15 got it wrong. He didn't say people in Yosemite were struggling with lower end cameras. He talked about the people who were on safari.
Right. Well, and I'll answer that.
Mm-hmm.
So Dignap, what I find is the camera doesn't mark the person, but the camera marks your commitment, right? Now, I support a lot of beginners with Nikon D3500s, with Canon Rebels, with Sony A6000s. But you have to realize that those are entry-level cameras. They're going to take good pictures. And if you want great pictures, you have to be kind of lucky, because they're not going to focus fast enough. The light metering is not as sophisticated. And so, one of the best pictures on our safari to Africa was made by a woman with the Nikon Z5 and the 24-200 lens. And she was in the right place at the right time. And she fully admits that. And there's a great article. You'll see that article on our blog at paulsphoto.com. And it was, the name of the blog is, "Why Did I Have to Go to Africa to Learn to Use My Camera?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key, the secret. And you've got to learn your camera. And if you've got a 20 megapixel crop sensor camera, you're not going to make the same prints that I do out of a Z7 II with 46 megapixels and the pro lenses. That's just physics. I will help you learn to use the D3500, the Z5, to get the most out of it. But at then some point, you've got to move up. You've got to go up the food chain. And it's not that I never try to poo-poo people who have put the brand T or brand S lenses on their cameras, but they're limiting themselves as to what you can do. So
I have a question for you. This is two parts, but I come to your store. I go, Mark, I have $3,800 to spend. Give me the latest, greatest Nikon body. Where do you point them to?
Z7 II, $27.99 on sale right now.
Okay, the next question. Is it better than the R5?
Similar camera, different. I mean, it depends. I mean, so are you in the Canon ecosystem or are you in the Nikon ecosystem?
Yeah.
So
I'm new, so I'm gonna buy lenses too. So I want your recommendation. So what I'm trying to get at is Nikon has a gap. Do you agree? Under the Z9.
Not really. I mean, there are people. So yeah. I mean, there's a big price difference between $3,000 and $5,000. Yeah. I mean, will there eventually? And I think if times were normal, Vahagan, there would be a camera there at the $38.99 price range. So you're making the mistake that beginners often make by researching the camera and not researching the lenses. And J-Rod, I agree that a lot of people talk about the gear without learning how to use it. But like Chuck said, that's the fun for him. Chuck likes to see an email today that there's a new lens, and crap, I don't need that lens, but God damn it, I want it.
Yeah.
And I better be second in line to get it. Right?
Yeah. But that's the whole thing. And that's what manufacturers are out to do, is sell equipment,
See, I think
that's their job.
Nikon Canon
here not to sell cars. Is Budweiser here not to sell beer?
Nikon, Canon, Sony, Fuji, OM, whoever. They don't care if you buy it, walk out of the store, and throw it in the street. They could care less.
Don't care.
Wait. But I do.
Well, you do,
yes.
but Nikon doesn't, and Canon doesn't. They made a sale, and that's what they're in business
Chuck,
to do.
That's changing. So that's why you're seeing. So you don't see very many cameras anymore at Walmart or Best Buy or Costco.
Timed out on his.
Oh, we lost Mark.
Yeah.
Sure what Sony shooter did that? Who Sony samples? Who did that?
Ooh, we hear noise now.
Hey, great conversation, Vahagan, man. This is a great stream.
Let's do that until he comes back, because there's some noise.
It's great to hear from a camera store, because there's so much information to be gleaned on, what the people are asking for, what the people come in for, and things like that. I think it's fantastic.
There we go. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna mute him until it's back to normal.
He may have to come back, sign off, and then come back in. He may have to.
Yeah.
His perspective,
Vahagan, what I was trying to get at was the tech, more not so the price. That was just a figure of speech. I was just trying to, but he
heard you. He heard you. He said if these were normal times, there would be something at that third. He's speaking to your issue.
But I'm wondering,
he answered it.
But I'm wondering, I almost want a definition of what do you mean by if these were normal times?
He talked about the supply issues that are taking place all over the world.
But
he talked about how there are people, there are countries that are still in pandemic mode. And yeah, he can speak to that, but he was talking about how, as he's talking to other retailers, and it wasn't just Nikon, they're all struggling with getting gear from different brands. That's what I heard him say.
Okay, Ron, I agree with that 100%.
I heard him saying. I'm not telling you. I'm not saying.
No,
that.
I know. I'm just saying, though. I mean, a common sense approach or look at this is other camera brands are able to do it.
All right,
Mark.
You got a lot of feedback.
Sorry about that, guys. So in my nervousness to get on with you guys, I forgot to turn on my AC adapter. So the battery on my camera died. And I had to run into the shop and get a battery. So
you,
Mark,
I mean,
was a question.
I understand like what you're saying, and you understand what I'm saying. As far as the tech goes with the Z9, we will see something for a little less money. A lot of people, but here's the thing. A lot of people online, I mean, I'm getting emails saying, hey, Vahagan, what should I do? Should I wait? Should I jump ship? They're nervous.
What are they nervous about?
They're just nervous of what they're not really nervous. They're tired of waiting.
For what?
For the less expensive Z9.
So he's talking about Nikon. See,
All right.
see, Paul.
So,
I'm sorry.
so gang, if we look at what's going on, right? And this is Mark speaking, not Nikon, right? And reading the tea leaves, right? So there are rumors of a Z8 that we don't know what that is, right? There are rumors of Z6 III and Z7 III that we don't know what that is, right? So what is possible, right? So we can see higher megapixels, right? Because there's rumors of higher megapixels coming. Certainly 45 is not the top. I mean, Sony has 60, right? There's rumors of 60, 80, 100 out there, right? What they're going to make, nobody knows. It's, no, somebody at Nikon knows because they're already working on it, but they're not talking, right? There's also all the tech of the Z9 that can come down, right?
Yep.
But what people don't understand is what makes the speed and the performance of the Z9 possible is the chip and the big battery.
Yep.
So if you want the same speed and performance, you're not going to get that unless you use the big battery, which means the body is not going to change in size significantly.
Yep.
So if you want performance in a Z7 size camera with an ENEL15 battery, you're going to have to give up something. And what is that? And so these are choices that Nikon is going to make. And if you've read, what Tom Hogan wrote and other people have written about what the next cameras are going to be, so what I hope for in the Z7 III is the, shutterless photography like the Z9, the no rolling shutter, the tracking, the focus tracking of the Z9. Now, it's not going to be as fast. It's not going to have the frames per second. And if Z7 III comes in with those features at 46 megapixels, I think that's going to be a great upgrade because look what that's going to give us, right? Now, people are asking for a baby Z9, right? You're not going to have that performance. You can't.
Well, hey, Mark, let me clarify that. When people say that, that's just some way to talk about the same features. And let me clarify that point too. The same features rolling down into a smaller body at a different price. It's not going to be the Z9. We've talked about that a lot. You brought up the battery. And one thing you didn't bring up, but I bring up often too, is the heat sink in a smaller body. Obviously, heat dissipation will be different. So when we say baby Z9, we're not talking about a carbon copy. You can't do that. You're absolutely right. So it's not going to be a carbon copy, but it's the all-rounder that does, the majority of what a Z9 does in a smaller body. And by virtue of being a smaller body, it's going to be cheaper. It should be. And it's not going to have the battery performance. Got that. Again, in the video, it's not going to be able to dissipate heat fast enough unless Nikon's found a secret sauce in the codec to make that possible too. Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, that's all tech.
But what I get tired of hearing is everybody say is Nikon's not going to jeopardize sales of a Z9 by putting, I disagree with that 100% because they can't withhold this tech anymore.
You can't. And in today's market, if you don't bring it, somebody else will, and then you're scrambling. I think that people underestimate, I said this again, they underestimate the power of the pandemic. And so we are very lucky here in the United States that for us, COVID seems to be over, right? Sure, when you fly in an airplane, you got to wear a mask, but as far as it affecting us personally, we see in the country, we see logistics, prices are still affected by COVID. Asia's not the same way, guys. Not the same way at all.
I have a question about that, Mark. Right there, and I'm glad, and I want to segue on that. As a retailer and who's been in this game for 30 plus years, you, how do you see, and do you see Nikon being affected by the pandemic differently, more than or less than Sony, Canon, Fuji, Leica, Panasonic, etc.? From your perspective, how do
So
you see
you guys think
Nikon
Nikon is
being?
affected more because you're Nikon fans?
No,
No, I don't know. I don't
no,
have. I'm
no.
not saying that. I'm not
I,
saying that.
I'm
I'm
just looking.
asking you for your
I'm just
perspective.
looking at the
Same,
market
same,
and
same,
what I'm just
same,
looking.
same.
Well, then
Okay.
Nikon could put out 2 cameras this year if it's same.
Yeah. Well, maybe
Oh.
yes, maybe no. I mean, it just depends.
Mhm.
So what you don't know, Chuck, is there's so many things that we don't know about, right?
I understand. You're absolutely
Where were
right.
they in the design and engineering before the pandemic? You know, where are they on the parts supply chain? You know, are they waiting for manufacturer X to make a key part that guy is so backed up?
And that's the part I don't know. You're right, Mark. Maybe Nikon has a peculiar part that they need that no other manufacturer uses, and maybe that's the holdup. But the bottom line is the supply system affects all, not just
It
one
reflects,
brand.
and we're seeing it. We're just
I'm
now.
not seeing
That's
it.
what I'm asking.
I'm not
And that's
We're
what I'm
just
asking.
now getting. I just now have open stock on Canon R3, R5, R6.
What do
For
you
the
mean by
first
open
time
stock?
since
What do you mean by that?
that you can walk in and buy a camera, Ron, every day.
Okay. No,
So
I know.
open stock
I know
for
what you
me.
mean, but
So right now for us, Z9 is
I
not
know
in
what you
open
mean.
stock.
Right.
Z9 is not on wait list.
Right.
So we get a number of Z9s in every week or two. Generally, half of those are pre-sold. So half of them go on the shelf. And by the time the word gets out there, by the weekend, they're all gone. And now we're waiting again. That's not open stock. Means if I need 6, I order 6, 6 come in, and I can project how many I need.
Yeah.
Hey, Ron, it's open stock, so get your credit card out.
So Mark, do you see delays with A1s? I was at a camera store, Mark, in Nevada, and the guy told me that they're selling for every A1, they're selling 2 or 3. They're back ordered 2 or 3 Z9s, but the
Yeah,
problem was
that's
getting
because
them.
the A1 has been on the market now
Hmm.
for
A year longer.
a year longer.
Hmm.
So Eric, to get the performance out of the Sony, you need to put the battery grip on it with 2 batteries in it. And that makes it the same size. So that's one thing that Sony did that I really like is you can skinny down the performance by making the camera smaller, but the Sony guys don't like it because they have to change batteries. And I'll tell you, on the sidelines of an NFL game, in the photo pit at a MLB game, nobody wants to change batteries.
Right.
You need to be able to get through a whole game or half a game on one battery. So to be able to go a quarter of a game or 3 innings and then have to change out batteries, not going to happen in the pro world.
Mark,
Yeah,
the same thing at
absolutely.
the PGA Tour, Mark. The Z9 and R3 were killing it, and
Yeah.
the photographers made the same observations because those of us with full size bodies like that didn't have to change batteries.
Yeah.
But the guys that had the Sony A1 or some of those other cameras were changing batteries by the 8th hole.
Oh yeah.
They were changing batteries out by
But
the 8th hole.
this is the whole reason for the flagship line in every brand is
Right.
for those shooters that need, and that there is an absolute need for that. I get that.
And in your people, Chuck, there's a want,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And do I need a Z9 for my personal photography? No.
No.
Right.
But do I frickin' love it when I'm shooting sports? My good buddy, so one of our instructors, he's an ex-Nikon guy. He says he hates the Z9. Because every picture's in focus. How do I decide which ones am I going to throw away? So you're running a football play, you're running an eagle flying at 20 frames per second, and you have 40 shots in focus, right?
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I'm not, you know, I don't have unlimited storage. I can't keep all those pictures, and they're all in focus. So now I got to go through and find which ones I want to keep.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, you want to comment on Mosman's comment here?
Mark has direct access to Nikon reps. You could, okay. No, because my Nikon rep doesn't know either. So remember, Japanese companies are very, very secretive. You know, Japanese people are very private people. They don't, you know, they don't wear a tattoo on their arm that talks about their troubles. That's not their culture, right? So my Nikon rep knows all of the stuff that he needs to know to support me, to help me support my customers and sell cameras the right way possible. That's what my Nikon rep knows. Now, his boss, his boss's boss, his boss's boss's boss, his boss's 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 boss know some of that information, but I never get to know that.
Bosses,
You know,
bosses.
What?
Yeah, no, I was just laughing. Bosses, bosses, boss.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a good response, Mark, to
No, that was.
the supply concerns, because some people in the chats and see, okay, let me go back to this. Vahagan asked you a question about if a person walks into the camera store, and you're gonna direct them, and I want to buy the best camera, so forth and so on. One of the behind the scenes issues with that, Mark, is the brand bashing that has gone on online with some of these YouTubers. All right,
So that doesn't matter, Ron, to the beginning photographer. It's the Uncle Vahagan effect. It's their best friend effect. So they always want the same camera that Uncle Vahagan has, or the same camera that their buddy Chuck has. And that's, you know.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm saying to you that that's a part of what Vahagan's world has been as a YouTuber.
Oh yeah.
I'm not on YouTube like Vahagan. Vahagan has educated me many times and others on what's happening in the world of YouTube. So when you got the Polands of the world that take Nikon to task for one item and beat them up, it influences other people who are looking to get into a system, maybe. And that's part of what he didn't say that, but am I right, Vahagan? Is that part of what might be behind that?
I mean, it might influence that beginner. Well, just because he's saying it, okay, well, we're just going to gloss over Nikon and buy a Canon or something like that. But
that you can't, you know, and our job, Ron, is remember, we try not to sell people.
Right.
We are consultants. We are your friends. We are your ambassadors, your allies here. And I'm going to sell you the best camera for you, not the best camera for me. Right.
Come on now.
And there are other brands out there that offer better incentives to the store, but I don't deal with all that. I don't go there. Right. So, yeah.
So I just have a question. Sure. What is the sales ratio when as far as the three major camera manufacturers go? Do you sell more Canons, Sonys, or Nikons right now?
So at Paul's Photo, we sell, and it varies from month to month, and it also varies on the numbers, right? One of the ways Nikon is killing it right now is because we're selling so many Z9s and Z7 2s at $3,000 and $5,000. So if you look at the units or the dollars, right? So units wise, we probably sell more Canon than anything right now, but dollars wise, we probably sell more Nikon cameras. Yeah. So Greg, I do not have a garage load of 800 millimeter PF lenses, you know. So we get a few 800s every month from Nikon, And right now, those are all allocated by Nikon to NPS members who ordered in the first 10 minutes of availability. So that's where the waiting list on 800s and 400 millimeter 2.8s is right now. So if you're an NPS member and you ordered in the first couple hours and you haven't got a lens yet, your name should be coming up shortly. If you're an NPS member that ordered a month later, you're going to wait a while longer. If you're an NPS member that ordered last week, you're going to wait longer. If you're a non-NPS member, then they have not started delivery to non-NPS members yet. So, yeah, I wish I had a better answer to that. If you have more questions about that, I will help you as best I can. Write to me, mark@pulsephoto.com, and I will help you with that. So what's Nikon's plans to have a flash unit for the Z9? I don't know. You know, so there seems to be in the world, and when in the world meaning Canon, Nikon, Sony, a problem with flash units. So we don't know what the issue is, but Nikon flash units, Canon flash units, Sony flash units have been nearly impossible to come by. You know, I don't have any SB5000s. In the last 3 months, I probably got one flash in. One flash that was a NPS request by a professional.
Wow.
You know, as far as, you know, Canon 600 RTs, 430 EXs, none of those coming through.
That's why I have a lot of
there's
SB800.
a problem someplace in the supply chain for flash.
Yeah.
So,
Hey.
and I don't know.
Hey, Vaughan, can I say something real quick? I want to say something to Mark. Mark, I love you, man. You're
Thank
genuine. I love that you're passionate. I love that you stand by what you believe and you're willing to discuss and help others. And I just want to say, it's not everybody that can come on a live stream and be genuine. Everybody wants to change their demeanor and everything, but it means so much. And, you know, I wish you had a store here where I'm at.
I do.
Do
Just
you?
call me.
Yeah.
I have never.
I
have never seen Ron Pollard in my store.
I'm talking for the come in, the
But-
touchy feely to have a conversation, kind of, you know, have a true story here. You know, everybody that lives out there near you and frequents your store, they're very fortunate to have
So
you.
where are you,
Mark and
Chuck?
I'm in Connecticut, but I'm getting ready to move to Tennessee.
So call me. You know, I will take care of you and all of your guys, all your listeners around the country. If you don't have a camera store in your neighborhood, and I know 95% of the camera store owners in the United States, and they're all friends of mine. So I would never take any business from my buddy who has a store in wherever.
Right.
So if you have a relationship with your local guy, then keep that relationship.
You know,
If your local guy doesn't treat you right, call me and we'll take care of you.
and I'm not going to say that's the case. Believe it or not, my local store is B&H or Adorama.
Well, then why go there? Call me, Chuck. We'll take care of you.
No, I agree with you 100%. I only mention that because that's probably the closest store that is to me. You're right. So
your closest store is B&H. That's hilarious.
I didn't know that. I didn't know about your store until a year or so ago. But then again, I wasn't as prevalent on YouTube, so you know, whatever. But I've been dealing with the picture line out in Salt Lake City because I was doing a lot of work out there, so I could actually go in the store. And I mean, I missed that opportunity to come in to a real store. But I still do business with them for camera bodies, you know, because they've treated me right. And I can see you're the same, you know, I see your store's the same way. So I just wanted to mention it, Paul, that, hey, thanks for being, you know, so genuine, because again, not everybody can do that when they're on live.
Well, thank you. Okay. So Huff just put in a joke down there, and Chuck Huff, I appreciate that. So do you guys realize that I have zero control over price? Do you guys understand that?
Yes.
So Nikon, Canon, Sony, Delkin memory cards, think tank bags, Manfrotto tripods, whatever. 99% of the products that we sell here at Paul's Photo, we have no control over the price. The manufacturer sets the price, and we have to sell it for that. I can't give my daughter $20 off on a camera.
A lot of people, I've seen that B&H plays the game of, it's not, they're not bringing the price down on the camera, but they throw the add-ons in there,
They give you junk.
Yeah, I know. I know exactly. But yeah, I know the price is set by the manufacturer, and it's not
Correct.
like others. It's not a suggested retail price. It is the retail price. Yeah.
No, it's a suggested price. I am free to sell it at any price that I want.
Okay.
But if I am not a Gold Star dealer anymore because I'm not observing the price, there are ramifications for that.
Oh, okay.
See, these are the inner workings we don't know. See?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
That's crazy.
You know what I like, what I also like about you, Mark, is that you bring a global perspective to this discussion in the world of photography. You bring a perspective that is universal, and I appreciate that, because
thanks, Ron.
It's not just about this, because you got to see how the dominoes fall. You got to see where the dots are connected to understand what's happening in this thing, because we can get so myopic until we think it's just about us, and it is about us as a global community, but it's not just what we want, it's what's happening in the world that's impacting everything we want. Because I appreciate that about you in the talks we've had privately and on here today, but when we've talked about pricing and gear, you've been very fair about that. I
always try to be, Ron.
Hey, Z-Wade, you can't even get a box for that price.
Hey, I've got something I'm going to start promoting. I got these little Leica stickers. So if you buy a ZFC, you can put this little red sticker that goes right over ZFC and have your.
Hey, I have a quick question for you, but a quick answer, because there's a couple of questions I want to get to as well. NPS. I hear a lot of comments about NPS. It's not fair for the common folk to get the back of the line when NPS shows up for the new cameras. What's your take on that? Should they change a few things?
NPS is Nikon Professional Services. For those of you who don't know, NPS has been a part of Nikon for 50 years, and it is a program to help working professionals to get the gear they need for their business. And traditionally, it's support, it's information, and it's been to help people get the new stuff. Now, I have never seen it like this before, where regular people or non-NPS members are not able to get anything. And I just think Nikon was surprised. I know Canon is surprised. I know Sony is surprised at how many lenses they're selling in the big expensive lenses, because traditionally those big lenses would be sold in the hundreds a year, and they sold thousands of these big lenses that take a year to manufacture. The Nikon 800, the Nikon 400, any of those 400, 600 millimeter prime lenses take a year to manufacture. So I want you to think about this. So Vahagan, you are the president of Canon, right? You're the president of Canon in the United States. And your boss in Tokyo tells you, okay, Vahagan, we're going to bring out a new 400 millimeter lens for the R cameras, which at this time you have one camera, the R, right? Now, this lens is coming out in 2 years, right? This lens is $12,000 a piece. Traditionally, you would sell 500 of these lenses in a year. And this is in the middle of COVID, when you have no income coming in, and you have to write a purchase order for 400 millimeter lenses. So, Mr. Vahagan, what are you going to do, right? if you've got moderate huevos, you're going to order the 500, right? That you sold last year. If you've got jumbo cojones, you're going to order 1.5 times, right? So 750 lenses. And I'm making the numbers up, guys, right?
Right.
But what happens on the, so you order the 750 Vahagan. I mean, you go all in. You push all your chips into the table, right, for this poker hand. On the first day of the orders, you sold 1,500 lenses.
Jeez, yeah.
Right? Now, those lenses were ordered 2 years ago. You just can't call up Tokyo and say, hey, dude, can you put another table, a chair at the table? I've got a friend who showed up for dinner, right? Which happens, right?
Yeah.
You can't call the lens factory and say, dude, hey, I guessed wrong. We need, 3,000 lenses, not 750, right? Not going to happen. So that's why on the Canon and the Sony, right? Sony's had the 400 and 600 lenses available for what, 2 years now? Just last month, we don't have a waiting list on them, right? Canon the same way.
Wow.
The waiting list still there a little bit, but just clearing a little bit after 18 months, right? So, everybody is barking on Nikon about this, but okay. All right, Chuck, how much of your chips are you going to push into the table on this, right?
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, Mark, quit making sense. You're taking away from my rant.
Hey, Jeffrey from Selective Imagery wants to know.
Was he finished, Vahagan?
What was that?
But was Mark finished? Were you finished with your illustration?
No, yeah, that's fine.
Jeffrey from
this is an industry-wide comment. So when my dad started in the camera business in the 1960s, 3 million interchangeable lens cameras were sold a year worldwide. When I came into this business in the 1970s, it was like 4 million. At the heyday of the autofocus DSLR, the autofocus SLR, it was 6 or 7 million SLR interchangeable lens cameras were made. At the peak of digital SLR production, it was 20 million. So factory-wise, right, 3 million, 6 million, 8 million, 20 million, right? So Nikon, Canon, Sony all had the capacity to make 20 million cameras. Now that demand is back down into the 8 or 10 million camera range. So you've got double the capacity available, right? So so what's happened is, traditionally in Japan, there are not big factories. So there was no ginormous factory that said Nikon on it or Canon. There were a bunch of smaller factories that built components, right? And then they went to one place and then were integrated. Or they would buy components from subcontractors, just like GM and Ford does and everybody does, right? And then assemble them. So with the consolidation in the camera business, they have more capacity than they need. So why not bring all that to one location? Because you've got a bigger plant. I know Nikon has their, Nikon has their giant factory in Thailand where most everything is now. They were able to move everything there, right? And have it all under one roof. So, and that's just from what I understand, reading on the internet. I have no official word from Nikon on this, right? I'm not speaking for Nikon. I never would. So I'm at the office.
Yeah.
So this is part of my dad's camera collection behind me,
Mhm.
So I'm sitting in our classroom right now. So this camera store is next door. And so
Legacy,
anyhow,
baby.
did I
Legacy,
answer your
baby.
questions?
Legacy.
Hey,
That's le-
folks, show Vahagan and Mark some love. I mean, with a like. I mean, come on. If you're enjoying the conversation, drop a like. They're free. They don't eat anything. You don't have to water it, tend to it, or nothing. Just drop a like. I mean, there are a lot of people that are in here viewing, and it's not just for Vahagan, but for Mark, showing that you're interested in the conversation and everything else.
So
Sorry.
Vahagan, put my email address up there, mark@paulsphoto.com.
See.
And send me an email, get on my email newsletter list, sign up for the Africa Talk. So I've got why we're going to Africa, what we're going to do tonight at 6 o'clock. It's a free talk. Tomorrow night, 5 o'clock, Canon is doing a free talk on bird photography. Thursday night, I am doing a free talk at 6 o'clock on my lessons learned with the Nikon Z in Africa. Friday and Saturday, Ron, I didn't tell you this. You might have seen it in the email last night. So my prints from Africa are going to be at the Kenyan consulate from 2 to 7 p.m. at the Kenyan consulate in Los Angeles. We're going to have a photo show Friday night and Saturday. So Vahagan, 2 to 7 at the Kenyan consulate downtown LA, 3550 Wilshire Boulevard.
Mark, you make sure somebody does some behind the scenes with their camera phone or something. So those of us who support you can watch that, can see that.
Absolutely. Right? We'll do a live we'll do a video from there. Absolutely. So we have plenty of stuff going on.
Yeah, that's great.
So next week on the 9th, we're rerunning. So we have Nikon has 5 classes on the Z9 that we're running. They're free. So 4 how-to classes. The 5th one is going to be a roundtable, kind of like this, with Z9 users and owners to talk about how we get the results from our cameras.
Will that be online too? Will we be able to watch it?
Yeah, it's all. These are all free and they're all online.
Great.
And what's good about these streams is that if somebody didn't catch all that, they could just rewind it a little bit.
Yep.
And just everything is there. I have a question for you, and this one has to do with Hollywood. Okay. You're in a nice
So do I have
area.
to put my sunglasses on before I answer it?
If you want, but you're in a nice area, nice location where it's kind of like where the celebrities play. The ocean's right there, Malibu's not too far, all that. And me and we were having a discussion the other day with Grays of Westminster in UK, where do they actually see the celebrities shop at the store?
No comment.
Okay, all right. Do you ever see anybody that come in and
no
is into photography?
No
comment. We can't talk about that.
All right, cool.
Can't talk about that.
It's such a.
So you didn't ask me, do we see any sports people too? Ask me that question.
Yeah, sports, celebrity,
No comment.
Hey, Vahagan. At Dury's camera in Nashville, it was a known fact that people like Loretta Lynn or Reba McEntire were going to those stores. Now that ain't Paul's, but they would often talk about that all the time. but I don't blame him. I get it. He can't say anything.
So guys, we're 90 minutes in. I've got people waiting for me in the shop.
All right, man. Well,
so please. Thank you for your support. Thank you, all of you, for watching. Vahagan, thanks for having me on. I can't wait to meet you in person. Chuck, one day.
Yes, sir.
And Ron, I don't even need to say anything to you, right?
No, we're together, man. We're
absolutely
together.
So, guys,
I'll be out there.
I'll be out there soon. Store. We're one location. We're 20 employees, and we're trying to be the best camera store in the country. We want to be your local camera store no matter where you are. For us, we don't feel like there's a reason to go anyplace else. We try to have everything in stock. We try to take care of our people. And if you have questions, my crew here is well trained and they're always here to help. I'm here whenever I can be to support you. So please, gang, rock on, make great pictures. And you know what? It's not about the camera, it's about the photographer. But having a bitchin' camera and a bitchin' lens makes it a lot easier to be a great photographer. All right,
Mark,
guys.
thank you so much, man.
Thank
you for
you.
your time, and this
All
was
right.
great, man. You're welcome here
Class act,
anytime,
class act.
and even on Chuck's live stream as well. Check that
Yeah.
out, AP Studios. So
All
Thanks,
right.
Mark. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
all the talk. Thank you.
Blessings, Mark.
night.
Blessings, Mark. Blessings. Blessings.
that was great, guys. This is
Yeah,
great,
that
guys.
was-
Yeah.
No, Ron,
To get a
thanks
retail
for,
point of view is very interesting.
Ron, thanks for
The
you know,
connection.
putting
yeah.
in the good word, and you know,
Mhm.
that's cool, man.
Yeah. I mean, V, if I didn't think that guys like you and Chuck were doing good work, Amar, Jeff, I wouldn't, man, these are resources I've had a long time. You know, Mark and I've had so many discussions over the world of photography. We've had so many discussions about places in Kenya. As Chuck likes to say, Kenya. I love the way you
Kenya.
pronounce it, Kenya. Kenya. I
Kenya.
mean, and yeah, exactly. And it's been amazing. And it's been I'm telling you guys, you all have helped enhance my life. And I told you this 8, 9 months ago. This is a blessing to be a part of a community. Whether you see things the same or you see things differently, you just want a community, man, where you can be free to express yourself and to talk about things. That's what you all have provided for me, because the world of commercial photography, Chuck and Vahagan, is so cutthroat, it's so mean. I can't begin to tell you the stuff I've dealt with, man, the stuff we've dealt with.
And then you have the
I,
multiplying factor of YouTube to really.
oh my gosh, man. I mean, the meanness, the evil. I mean, the unscrupulous behavior of so many people will blow you away, guys. And this has been refreshing. That's why when I can, I try to make time to be a part of all the streams, or as many as I can.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
really do.
yeah, thank you. This was great. Like Todd says, it's great to get insight from a little bit of insight from the retail side of
Yep.
things, which we're
I'm telling you, thank
photographers.
you. I'm telling you guys, thank y'all for being y'all. That makes it possible for people like me to bring in folk like him. That's what I'm saying. If y'all weren't the quality guys y'all were, I wouldn't even think about it, man.
I
See,
wish
with
I
him-
was half the quality you think I am.
Nah, Chuck, your quality.
Y'all are amazing. Y'all are such
Hey,
a man.
so Mark is enthusiastic. He loves photography, not only selling cameras, but he's so into it, like I told
Yep.
him. And you don't see that from other owners. You see like I won't
Mhm.
bring up any names, but me and Mosman were talking about a retailer or in Southern California where it is the exact opposite,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
it was
Mhm.
just, this guy is just full of energy. Like I said, Mosman
Yeah.
has a store next to him, but he shops here. So
Mhm.
uh
Yeah.
and
I mean, man, yeah, I agree. I've been knowing people at Sammy's for 25 years, but I go there. I go there.
and all you guys in the chat, man,
Guys,
thank you. We have
mhm.
60, 70 people. This is awesome.
Shoot, there were 80 in here a little while ago.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this is great. Were you saying, Ron?
I've got to go to 2 consultations, guys. Not because I want to, I have to.
There you go. There
I
you
gotta
go.
go to I gotta go to 2 consultations,
Yeah.
man. These could be big for the end of the year. And Vahagan, one of these is a commercial consultation that you and I have been talking about, and I've gotta go land these accounts, man. I've gotta go.
All
So
right, go for it, man. And if you
blessings,
need any
guys.
help
Thank
in
you.
Southern California, if you're gonna do
Yeah,
some stuff here, let me know, man.
yeah, we'll be out there. That's one of the reasons I'm talking. They're talking about mid-December sometime, so we'll see how that works out.
All right, Ron. Well,
Blessings, guys. Have a great day, guys. Have a great day.
thank you for
Thanks,
being on
Ron.
the
Thank you.
panel, man.
Thank you.
God bless you,
It's a
brother.
blessing. God bless you. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
So Chuck, I learned some stuff today
I
that
did too,
I
man.
didn't realize, from, and I won't be afraid to admit it.
No, I'm not either. I'm not either. Hey, you got somebody from Kenya in here.
Oh, nice.
Abdijama. Yeah.
Welcome. Love my Z9. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. I mean, I have to give him take him. I have to go visit him one day. I've never been. I think I've been there once, but this was a long time ago. I don't remember.
Beautiful country, beautiful people. I mean, I'm not just saying it because I've been there several times myself and I've loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, man, this was great. Chuck, thanks. Man, we had a fire. We had some fireworks going off when me and you talked yesterday. That was a discussion. Amar and Ron. Hopefully, we can continue that tomorrow, man.
Yeah.
So, but man, this was fun. Hopefully, everyone enjoyed it in the stream, and we see if we can continue with more Vahagraphy talks in the future. Because I really enjoy doing this, and when we have quality guests on, it's even better. So we could pick their brains and have the audience actually ask questions and get their answers, get their questions answered,
Yep.
and not just listen in and more interaction, So this live stream thing is really, really cool. And the Godfather live stream.
It was kind of funny though. He's you know why you're here. You know what you're doing, right? Or no. Why does everybody assume? And I guess I understand that everybody assumes if you're on YouTube, you're there to, they believe that everybody's on YouTube to make money or whatever. Not the case with me, but I'm having a good time. I really am.
Yeah, me too. Are you guys having a good time? Did you guys have a good time out in the chats, man? If you did, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll see if we can have more Vahagraphy talks in the future. Hey, my next episode is number 50, so that's just gonna be. I'm gonna try to make that one an extra special one. We'll see what we can do with that. But
All right.
thanks a lot, Chuck, guys, everybody in the chat. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. And any last words or before we take off?
No, I want to apologize real quick for having to get up so often. And I'll just give everybody a real quick reason why. I've got plumbers coming today. You'll love this. You can't make things up like this. My lift pump in my septic tank quit 2 days ago. So I've got a yard full of soup and not very good smelling soup. So that's the reason for running back and forth. I've got my second plumber, the guy that's here to actually replace the pump. But anyway, sorry. I hope it didn't interrupt your stream, Vahagan.
Oh man, this is laid back, free flowing thing, man. I'm taking it, like your chats are,
Yep.
We come in and out, and actually yours is even more laid back. It's like, but no worries at all. By the way, Jeff, everybody's asking Jeff if he has any issues with the was it the Z9 upgrade? Yeah, it is. Yeah, everybody's asking him about that in the chat. So yeah, man, if you haven't checked out, if you guys don't know who Chuck Talks is, for some of you guys that are in here that haven't been to AP Studios, which I suggest you guys check Chuck YouTube channel out, man. We're trying to get him to over 1,000 by the end of the year subscribers. So hey, visit AP Studios if and check out his live streams, 2 a week, Chuck, Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Yep. Wednesday at noon Eastern time and Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Everybody's welcome. Doesn't matter what you shoot. Come in, talk, have a good time, have sidebars in the chat. And we try to keep up with the chat too and just have a good time. So if you don't know about it and haven't checked it out, come over and see what you think.
And that was Ron. In case you don't know Ron Pollard, that was Ron Pollard. Check him out on ronpollard.com. And Paul's photo is a store and that was Mark Comon in Torrance, California. He has a retail shop. So, hey guys, one more thing. I want to give a shout out to a YouTube channel today. I'm taking a page out of your live stream here, Chuck.
Yeah, absolutely.
This guy is a Nikon shooter, and I just discovered him. And a quick shout out to Joe Mansland on YouTube. Am I saying that right, Chuck?
Yeah, Joe Man's Land, like no man's land, but Joe Man's Land.
Yeah, I just discovered his videos, cool videos, and he shoots Nikon, and he is from Canada area. So check him out. Also, our good friend here, Selective Imagery, Jeffrey. He's relaxing nature videos. Go ahead and check those YouTube channels out. Subscribe, show them some love, man. So, all right, I think that's about it. We're good. We're
All
good.
right, man.
Any last comments, questions, or concerns?
Thanks for putting up with me, V. Appreciate it.
Anytime, man. And thank you to everyone in the chat. And we'll see you guys next time. And this was fun. Thank you. We'll see you guys. What's for lunch? Mosman says.
Well, I want to get rid of the soup that's baking in my yard, so I don't know what's for lunch or dinner. But hey, thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are what make all this fun. And honestly, it's one thing to sit up here and talk to yourself or talk to somebody or whatever, but the chat is what makes it. And again, that's what we're striving for. At least me, is just to build a community where everybody can complain, rant, teach, help, whatever. That's what it's about.
Yep. We'll see you next time, guys. Rock and roll.